Good morning, everybody. How are you? Welcome to episode 53 of the 3 a.m. Knitter podcast. My name is Anne, and I am the 3 a.m. Knitter. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is Sunday, March the 16th that I'm recording on, and welcome. So if this is your first time here, a very warm welcome to you. I hope that you enjoy the episode and will consider liking and subscribing to the podcast. You can go back and take a look at the previous 52 episodes here on YouTube. And if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I do appreciate you so much. So, as always, all of my contact information is down below in the description box. You can find all of the links to my socials and things like that. If you feel the need to reach out, the best way to do that is either via an email or on Instagram. That's where you'll find me the most. So there you go. All right, let's jump right into the episode. So a few things to chat with you about today: a finished object, a couple of works in progress, some basket weaving, things like that. So we'll get right into that. Oh, I also wanted to show you a few spring, summer knit patterns that I've come across that, I don't think it's too early to start knitting for the spring, summer. What do you think? Anyway, we'll go over some of these patterns and you can let me know what you think. All right, so let's jump into both what I'm wearing and the finished object. So over the last few episodes, I've talked about this test knit that I did for Natural Ewe Yarns My LYS here in Pictou, Nova Scotia. And this is the slip, I always have a hard time saying this, slip stitch Raglan sweater. So let me just stand up and push my chair in. So I opted obviously for the crop version. The reason that I did that is, as you know, if you have followed me for a while, I like to layer, so I wanted the shorter version. And I did make some modifications to the pattern just so it would turn out exactly the way that I wanted it to. So we'll talk about those. So you can see as I come up a little closer, the slip stitch detail here in the yoke. Isn't it beautiful? Yeah. And yeah, so generally the way that the pattern is written, it's obviously a raglan, as you can tell. I switched it up in these ways. I shortened the amount of, or the depth rather, of the raglan because I prefer it not to be as raglan-y. Is that a word? Although there's nothing wrong with that, this is my preference. So I also stopped doing the slip stitch design here for the body and then just reintroduced it for this final stripe down at the bottom. The pattern does call for the slip stitch to be done throughout. Obviously, I stopped the stripes in the body and just went with the main color. So there's nothing wrong with the pattern whatsoever. These are just changes that I made to make this fit me the way I like it to fit. So I'm not entirely certain when the pattern will be released. Oh, and also the sleeve. So I like the bracelet length sleeve. So I shortened up the sleeves and I added one of the slip stitch stripes just before I headed on to the ribbing. So I made the modifications to the pattern only because of personal preference. There was nothing wrong with the pattern whatsoever. It's a generously sized pattern. It's made to be, it's written to be with a lot of ease. So I actually, this size, if I remember correctly, it was the second size. All of my notes I've talked about in previous episodes, but I just wanted to talk to you about the yarn. So the main color here, this beautiful gray, is a yarn called Scout that I found in my stash. I'm just gonna look that up for you here. I should have had this up and ready, but Scout, Calborn Woolens, there it is there. It's a DK weight by Calborn Woolens. Let's see, 251 meters per skein or per 100 grams, 100% wool. Calborn Woolens Scout is a classic, strong, versatile heathered yarn, wool yarn from Calborn Woolens, designed with classic knitting and crochet in mind. Scout is yarn for the sake of yarn. It's unfussy, beautiful, high quality, and comes in a gorgeous color palette. 20 to 22 stitches to 4 inches on 3.75 or 4 to 4.5 needles. So you can see I did block this quite aggressively because I wanted it to, you know, have a little bit of ease, of course. It's soft, this yarn. It's soft. And then I didn't have another DK in a colorway that I liked for these stripes. So what I used here, this is Fleece Artist. Fleece Artist. It's a fingering that I held double. It really is kind of a thick and a thin, but I held it double, and I think, you know, I mean, it's effective. I like it. So that's the slip stitch Raglan by Natural Ewe Yarns. Andrea is the designer on that. And I don't know. I should actually look at that. Hang on. Stitch. I'm quite certain it's not out yet. No, it's not been released yet. So just watch my Instagram feed, and I'll let you know. I'll let you know when she releases the pattern. But yeah, but I think it's a great wardrobe piece. I would knit this again, maybe in a solid color, just for one of those kind of standard pieces in your wardrobe. So do it in a solid color just to get the effect of the slip stitch texture. I think would be really nice. I also, now that I have this layering piece, would certainly consider re-knitting it with the longer sleeves and the longer body to make it, you know, a full sweater as opposed to just a layering piece. But anyhow, so that is my finished object. Super happy to have that done. Next up, I have another finished object, but it's not knitting, it's weaving. So I have talked before about Doris Ann Savoy, who is an amazing basket maker from New Brunswick, Canada. I've taken a workshop or two with her over at Sisterhood Fibres in Tatamagouche, Nova Scotia, and kind of got the basket weaving bug. It was so much fun. Can you see that? That's one of the little baskets there. Now, I didn't make that, Doris Ann did, but I purchased that for myself at the last retreat I was at. So I have a few little things kind of around. Can you see that little ornament there? That's something we made at the last retreat. So things like that. So Doris Ann has a basket of the month club. And what it is she picks a design, and if you purchase the basket of the month club, she sends you a kit that has all of the supplies you need to create this basket, plus the instructions. And so I have a couple of those kits, but last weekend I set some time aside in the afternoon on a Saturday or a Sunday, I can't remember what it was, and got to work and made up one of those baskets. So here is here is my basket. So isn't this fun? Now, believe me, it's not perfect, and I'm quite okay with that. But so much fun. So this is, or was until this morning when I brought it up here to show you, sitting on the counter downstairs in my kitchen, and whoops, I am using it. Let me get back all of this stuff here to house all of Paul's mail and stuff that was previously sitting all over the counter. But there it is. So nice and neat on the counter, then I don't get driven nuts, right? So this took me, I would say it took me 4 hours altogether, 3-4 hours to weave this basket. There's the bottom. So much fun. I am hooked. So I have a couple of her other kits, and the next one that I am jumping into, and you can't see it, but over here on my work table, I have all of the supplies kind of spread out. But this is, I think I might have shown you this picture before. This is the next basket that I am tackling, the clothes hamper. So you can see the dimensions, 17 by 24 by 10 inches. And it's going to be in this neutral color with, yeah, so here's the first batch of reed that I have to soak, and I'll be using this to start the weaving. It's so much fun. It's so much fun. The weaving in and of itself is not difficult because it's just weaving. It's over and under, over and under, over and under. But it's really fun to be using those techniques that I already know and adding in little techniques that are new to me. So really, I'm really enjoying it, and I will have more baskets to show you in the future. But if you're interested in trying out basket making, I really suggest that you check out Doris Ann. I'll link to her Instagram down below. But if you're interested in her Basket of the Month Club, it's not something you have to join for a specific amount of time. You get on her email list, on her newsletter list, and she sends out a newsletter once a month with, here's the basket that we're doing this month, here's the cost of the shipping. And then you decide if you want to participate in that particular month, and you send her an email and say, yes, please. So, and then she ships it out to you via Canada Post. Anyway, so I'm not quite certain about our friends south of the border, elsewhere, whether she's shipping to the US, I don't know, but you could certainly ask that question. And she makes the kits so they fit in, for my Canadian friends, they fit in the flat rate boxes. So you know right away what the shipping's gonna cost. So there's no worry about, oh, I wonder how much it's gonna be. Anyway, so this is up next. I won't get to it this weekend, seeing as it's already Sunday, but perhaps in a weekend or two, I will, taking a few days off closer to the end of the month. So I might find some time then to get at that. So anyhow, there we go. That is me as a basket weaver. Very excited about this. All right. So the next thing that I'm working on is I'm working on a project for Loose Ends. I don't know if you've heard of Loose Ends. Loose Ends is an organization that matches up creative people with people who have lost family members or things like that. Perhaps the family member has started a project, a knitting, crocheting, cross stitch, any kind of craft that they didn't finish, and the family wants it finished. And so you get matched up with a project and you go ahead and you finish it for these people. So I signed up for this. I'll put a link down below. I signed up for this quite some time ago, and I got matched a number of months ago with a lovely woman from New Brunswick whose mother started a filet crochet tablecloth, blankets, that kind of thing. And so they sent me the project such as it is and all of the supplies that were left over, and I am working to finish it. Now, bear with me while I back up a bit so you can see this. So, this is, you can't really, yeah. So this is the crochet so far. Let me just, maybe if I fold it in half. Right, there you go. And it's being made out of this ecru colorway, daisy mercerized cotton, number 20, 400 yards. I mean, you can tell just by the label. This is a Lily product. You can tell just by the label that it's an old yarn. It's an old cotton. What else can I tell you about this? Lily Mills Company, Shelby, North Carolina. Daisy mercerized cotton. So I'm using a 0.5 millimeter crochet hook. And yeah, so, oops, each of the blocks is this big. So instead of just following the pattern as written, which apparently I've misplaced. Oh, here it is. So pattern is like that. I'm not worried about showing it to you because here are the instructions. That's it. So I'm working through, it's taken me a while to figure out how to read the pattern. And with that small hook, it's a challenge, but I'm excited to, work on this, get it done, and get it back to the family. So it looks like instead of, the pattern says to do square by square and then attach them. I'm doing a whole strip and then just attaching the strip. So this strip here is about 2/3 of the way. And then I have 2 more full strips to do. It's gonna take me a bit, but, and with this, let me just get that hook again. Look, whoops. Can you? It is, oh, it's so tiny. It's so tiny. So I need super good light and patience. Yeah. So anyway, so that's one of my ongoing long-term works in progress. So I'll give you an update on that from time to time. It won't be every episode, but from time to time. And I'll kind of keep you up to date on how I'm doing on that. Okay. The other work in progress I have, of course, is my Lunenburg sweater. I did get the yoke finished, which is great, and I've started working on a little bit of the body here. So there's the yoke. Let me just bring that a little closer. Right? Oh, so nice. I love it. I love it. Yeah. So the part I'm at right now in the pattern, I have to knit in the main color here, which is, sorry, coal. Yes, this is the Lichen and Lace Rustic Heather Sport. Coal is the main color. So I have to knit until I have 9.5 inches. Then there are a few short rows that are done on the back, and then split for the sleeves, etc., and knit the body and then do the sleeves. So I was going to say I'm on the home stretch because it's just plain old knitting, but yeah, there it is. This yoke is, I can't even tell you how much I love it. There's my underside. So I use the two-handed Fair Isle technique, which wasn't as effective in this yoke as it usually is in say two-color color work, because each one of these rounds is 2 different colors. So there's a lot of cutting, a lot of, you know, bringing the yarn up as you go. But I am in love with this texture. Oh, I love the pearls. So unique. Anyway, so I'm working away on that, and yeah, hope to get split for the sleeves today. So there we go. All right, more updates on that as we go. I mean, really, the rest of it is going to just be kind of boring because it's just the main color and just regular sweater knitting. So I'll give you an update on my progress, but I probably won't talk a whole lot about it until I'm actually finished it. So there we are. Okay, so that is my works in progress. Now, I wanted to talk to you quickly about, is it too early to start knitting for spring, summer? I don't think so. So here we go. On my whip shelf over here, I think that the first, once I get to work on this Lunenburg, I just said Lunenburg, why can't I remember it? So once I get that one finished, I want to start knitting up for spring, summer. And the first project on my agenda is the Cadre, or Leela top rather, by Cadre. So I've shown you this before. I did have it in my queue for last year, but just didn't get around to it. Now I am going to be using this beautiful Lush Lino 65 silk, 35 linen in the bronzer colorway, Cosy Posy Yarn Co. So this is fingering weight, 490 yards. Oh, isn't it beautiful? And here is, there's that, and I actually have a swatch. So look at that. Oh, it's gonna be gorgeous. I'm super, super, super happy. I wish you could feel this. It's so light. So that's going to be a great summer top. So just a little info. It's 3 out of 5 for difficulty. Classic sleeveless summer top with a square neckline. It's constructed from the top down, giving it an advantage of adjusting for the length of the body, of course. Simple textured stitch is used throughout the pattern. It is worked flat and in the round. The Leela top is meant to be worn with 0 to 2.5 inches of positive ease. So there are 10 sizes in the pattern. It looks like I've selected size 6, which is a bust circumference of the finished garment of 43.25 inches. So this picture here is the size 5. So So that's going to be first on my spring summer knits. Looking forward to that. But then I came across 3 other patterns that I just quickly want to show you. This one here is a free pattern that was just put out this month. Cekiny, I don't know if I said that right, by Anne Caissie. Now, this is a long sleeve top, but it's in a lace. Look at that. Isn't that pretty? This is such a beautiful top, and a little bit of sparkle in it. Feather and fan design. So even though that is long sleeve, I think that that's going to be on my radar. This is done in figuring weight, 3.754 millimeter needles, 567 to 636 meters. So, you know, 2 skeins. Cekiny is a relaxed fit sweater with an intricate all-over lace pattern. This pullover is constructed seamlessly from the bottom up, starting with the lower body knit in rounds to the underarms, where stitches for the front and the back are separated and then worked flat to completion. Once the body is finished, the stitches for the sleeves are picked up around the armhole and worked in the round to create cuffs. The neckband is crafted last. So that's project number 1. I don't have yarn for it, but do I or don't I? Well, I might have yarn for it. Yeah, I haven't really looked yet, but I would prefer to knit it out of stash. Then we have the Calm Down Tee by Lily Kate France. This was released in July of last year. It is a basic, great addition to the wardrobe. Nice arm detail there, and also down the inner seam of the body. Great classic piece that you could make in a number of colors. I really like that detail. So this one is knit from DK. Depending on, oh, there's a whole bunch of sizes. Yeah, whole bunch of sizes. It is a paid for pattern. It's a little bit spendy, $14.65 Canadian or 7.50 British pounds. There's an option for bust darts. There are 9 sizes. It's worked seamlessly from the top down using a saddle shoulder and a set-in sleeve construction. I love a saddle shoulder. I learned that when I knit the low tide sweater. Yeah. So that's option number 2. And then the third one that I came across, oh, strangely, I didn't even notice this, strangely enough, is another Lily Kate France, which was released last year in May. It is a DK as well. It's called the Movement Tee. And I don't know, let me just make this a little bit bigger. So, oh, there we go. It's got this great detail here where it looks like there's some yarn overs. You maybe see it a little bit better on the back here. See that? So I think that's really fun. So again, it's a paid for pattern again, $14.65 Canadian, 7.5 British pounds, whole bunch of sizes. DK, like I said, 9 sizes. It goes up to a bust of 62 inches, the pattern. So she makes a note here, which I find interesting. If you are on the petite size or have a small frame, i.e. narrow shoulders, even if you have a large chest, I'd also recommend sizing down. If the shoulders are too big, the whole item will look sloppy and ill-fitting. This tee was graded based on average cross-back width, and so she gives you different widths. You may wish to factor this into your size choice. That's kind of neat. As a rough guide, the stripe sequence shown in the sample is approximately 70% main color and 30% contrast color. So here's actually, let me just show you this picture of the side body. So you can see here, there's some yarn overs there. It kind of makes the striping do a little wonka wonka. So I mean, I'm intrigued. I'm intrigued. And just having a few short-sleeved tops in my repertoire, I think will be fun. So yeah, so those are the 4 sweaters, one of which I'm going to start first, that I'm going to take a look at to start my spring summer 2025 knitting. So if you have some patterns that you've come across that you love, would you please share them? Because yeah, I'd like to use up some of my yarn. So there's that. Okay. So I think we're going to jump into the Knitter's Oracle now, because I really want to keep these episodes around the half-an-hour mark. And I just wanted to give you a heads up. So if you didn't watch the last episode, episode 52, where we had a great conversation with Mabel and Rose, go back and watch. Mabel and Rose, an amazing Nova Scotia, Canada maker, Halifax area. I'm actually wearing my favorite Mabel and Rose earrings today. You've seen these before. I showed them to you last time, I think. I'm really, even though I've only got the one episode of the Meet the Maker series up, I have 3 more kind of scheduled to get recorded. Pretty soon we're going to be talking to Windswept Fibres, which I'm so excited for. Fleur Ange Apparel, another amazing dyer. I have some of her yarn already, but yeah, we're going to jump on board, and Sassy Strings as well. So look for those Meet the Makers interviews. They're coming up soon. And I hope that you enjoy them. I think that, you know, it's so fun to start learning about amazing Canadian makers, right? That we have right here in our beautiful country. So if you are, or if you know of a great Canadian maker who would like to have a chat, please send them my way, because I'd like to share their stories. Okay, so let's get the cards shuffled, and let's see what comes up for us today. Split the deck. Oh, all right, the swatch. And that's number 11, if I got my Roman numerals correct. The swatch. Hailed by some and reviled by others, the swatch is here to impose order on chaos. It often involves conflict, arguments, discussion, and debates, whether with an external party or inside your own head. This is a get it figured out, get it sorted, whip it into shape card. Unpleasant perhaps, but productive nonetheless. Much as going through the swatching process can determine the success of your project, it's always helpful to clear the air and get your ducks in a row in life and in relationships. The swatch. So I, like many of you, have a love-hate relationship with swatches. You know, I used to be of the attitude that you can't tell me what to do. I'm not swatching. And, you know, that worked for a little while until it didn't. And I used, you know, $250 worth of yarn for a sweater that didn't fit me. So what I learned is this. My gauge is pretty bang on. I know that if I'm doing a fingering weight sweater and I'm doing it on, 4mm needles, I know exactly what my gauge is going to be. However, that's when I'm using yarn that I know. Will I start a sweater such as this without swatching? No. And this is the second time that I've knit this sweater. What if my tension has changed? Which, if it has, there's something going on. But I always use Chai-Gu needles, so it can't be the needles. So am I under, extra stress right now? Is it vacation? So I always swatch when I'm doing a sweater. If I'm doing a scarf, a shawl, a hat, do I swatch? No. If I'm doing commission knits, I always swatch. And I swatch stockinette, I swatch in pattern, I swatch cables, I swatch everything if I'm doing a commission knit. But if it's just, a house sweater or something like that, do I swatch? Nope. Nope. Now, my slip stitch raglan, did I swatch? Absolutely I swatched, because I was test knitting it. So I wanted to make sure that, what I was doing matched the pattern. So talk to me about swatching. Do you swatch? Do you swatch for specific items like me? Do you never swatch and just kind of throw it out there to the knitting gods and say, hey, let's take a chance? Do you swatch with specific yarns? Let me know. What do you think? Are you a swatcher or a non-swatcher? All right, friends. So that's it for today. I hope that you have enjoyed the episode. Keep an eye out for upcoming Meet the Maker episodes. I'll, of course, will let you know on Instagram when those are coming up. And do share your patterns for spring and summer. I want to see them because, maybe the four that I showed you today, maybe there's some new ones out there or some old ones out there that I don't know about yet. So anyway, that's it for now. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Happy knitting, and we'll talk soon.